All right, y'all, what's going on? It's Combo Breaker 99. I'm back with another video, guys. Been out for about a week. Hope everybody had a good Christmas, good holiday. Just had to take some time away, y'all, because, I've been grinding this week, this past weekend. It wasn't like a full-on vacation for me, but I said something got to give, and I got to take a little break away from the channel, just to kind of balance it out and just, give myself a little rest somewhat this holiday. So I said, you know what, let me go grind, and I'll see y'all next week. All right. So, yeah, man, back with it, guys. Hope everybody had a good holiday. But, yeah, definitely had to come back on and talk about this because some people hit me up. They wanted to know my thoughts. People have been sending me this article and said what I think about the situation going on with, of course, one of my favorite fighters, Manon Fiorot, right? Manon, the Beast Fiorot, did this interview a few days ago, about 3 or 4 days ago with MMA Junkie. And shout out to the interviewer, too. I'm not looking at the article or the video right now, but, I do like the way this young lady interviews fighters. I like how she kind of drills it down to the bone. She really drills the questions down to really get the answers that the fans want. I like that. She tries to really find out what a fighter wants by asking the question kind of over and over, but at the same time, not really trying to bait the fighter, you know what I mean? Or asking crazy stuff. So everything she puts out there is out there. It's not really like to try to bait somebody into saying something, so I do like her interviews with MMA Junkie. But yeah, man, Manon, 3 or 4 days ago, she talked to MMA Junkie about her return and what she wants to do. Of course, she said the surgery went well, and she's looking to come back to full training about March or April. And she wants to return to the cage at some point of July or August, So that ain't until like late next year, And she says she's looking to fight anybody in the division. She still has Valentina Shevchenko on her trajectory, right? But the part of this interview that got people hitting me up and got everybody with the suspect chin and their ears are kind of raising up is the fact that, not the fact that Manon Fiorot wants another fight because she's already said that, right? But it was the name that she mentioned, Rose Namajunas. And much like everybody else, I was like, huh? I was like, wait, man, did the interviewer bait her? And like I said, the interviewer didn't bait her for this one. She didn't try to throw a name out there. This name came out of Manon Fiorot's mouth, right? Because when she asked about her return, what she wants to do, she said, of course, I want to fight the champion. But, I know Valentina wants to fight somebody else in the next coming weeks, and that's fine. So she said, until then, I'll fight anybody in the division. Well, I heard that Rose wants to move up. And if she wants to fight the champion, she has to go through me since I'm #1 contender. And like I said, since I heard that, I was like, what? just off the top, I was like, huh? Like, why are we even talking about this? I know we talked about it on my channel before that Rose said there's a possibility of moving up to 125, but I don't even think Rose took that seriously. I'm not taking it seriously. I don't even think Rose is taking that seriously, right? So my question is, why did a name like Rose Namajunas come up from Manon Fiorot? So my thoughts on that whole situation is it's not a good look for Manon. As a Manon, the Beast fan, y'all know I'm a fan of Manon. I like her style, like her work ethic, and I like what she was bringing, that she was, pre-UFC, and I like what she was bringing as she was climbing the ladder, But right now that she defeated Katlyn Chookagian, which was a fight I wanted to see, now she's #1. Aside from the surgery, the energy's been a little bit different. Of course, the energy kind of comes off a little bit different now since she's calling out somebody like Rose instead of fighters that are in the flyweight division. She said she doesn't care who, but I would like some names thrown out there instead of just saying anybody or then a Rose, right? So my thoughts on it, I don't really think it's a good look for a #1 contender to be saying somebody like Rose Namajunas, who's not even in the division, right? I mean, fighters do have to kind of think about what they say sometimes, even if it ain't really like something negative or something nasty about another fighter. They just have to kind of think about that because it's how you make and break yourself as a popular fighter or a potential superstar as well. You got to look at it in that aspect, like whether or not a Rose fight happens or you're just like joking around. If you just mention that name and that name alone, fans are going to say, why is she calling her out? Oh, she a coward. Oh, she's scared. You know what I mean? That's the first thing they're going to say. Like, that turns fans off. It really does, because we want to hear our favorite fighters call out the best fighters, and we want to see them take on the best challenge. Like, we go back to old school. Look, I'm an old head. You know, Evander Holyfield, one of my favorite heavyweights of all time. Fighters, period. You know, he never upset me when it come down to whoever he fight, whether it be Mike Tyson, Lennox Lewis, Bo, Michael Moore, Burt Cooper, any of these names, Alex Stewart, George Foreman, Larry Holmes. The list goes on and on with this guy, as you can see, right? He never disappointed me when I was growing up because he would take on anybody 2 or 3 times at best, you know? So that type of energy is another level. Like, of course, fans, they don't get in the ring themselves or in the cage themselves, but they live through these fighters, right? I personally don't live through a lot of these fighters like that, but, you know, I'm just a fan of the science of it. But the real crazy fans and hardcore fans, this is how you build up your fan base for real, by saying the names that they want to hear, whether you fight them or not. You know, saying the names that you want to hear. And fans don't want to hear a name like Rose. That'll throw them off big time, right? So you kind of lose points with that right there. And for me, just as a normal fan and an analyst, and being a fan of Manon, yeah, that's not a name I would want to hear because, again, Rose is not in your division, and you have so many other fighters around you with great talent and great skills that are full-fledged flyweights that could be so much of a bigger notch on your belt and so much more experience than a Rose Namajunas that could get you closer to Valentina and get you the experience that you so asked for, right? You know, so when you call a Rose out, for me personally, I'm kind of like, again, that's not a good look because Rose can't really do anything for you. Maybe she could, but it's still not proven. There's a lot of other fighters that are proven that could give you the experience that you need to test your wrestling, test your clinch control, test your physical strength, test your stamina, test your gas tank for 5 rounds, which is what you wanted, right? So sticking to the name of like Alexa Grasso would have been fine. Like if she would have said, I'm still chasing that Alexa Grasso fight, we'd all go, oh, okay, that's fine. But now you kind of dig a little bit deeper. You're digging a little bit deeper. First, you know, you beat Chikagan, then you go on and say, oh, I want Grasso. Okay, people are like, all right, she wants more experience. We'll just have to take it. But then you go with Rose, it's like even deeper. You know, of course, Rose is a 2-time champion, but again, that's at 115. But when you say somebody that's not even a flyweight, it digs it a little even deeper. So people are now really going to get turned off. So again, looking at the fan base, you kind of lose fans with that. So you have to stick it in your realm, man. You got to stick around in that flyweight realm and say, I want Alexa Grasso, I want Arujo, I want Tyler Santos, you know, because Tyler Santos called her out. Tyler Santos called out 3 of them. She called all 3 of the blonde girls out. You know what I mean? I was just like, wow. Tyler said, hey, I want a rematch with Valentina, but if I can't get that, she said, I want the girl above me, who is Manon, or I want the girl below me, which is Caitlin Chikagan. All right. So Tyler Santos, she's calling all of the names of the flyweight division. She ain't calling Wei Lee out, nobody else. Like, she want these girls around her. So I thought Manon, you know, to build up her brand right now and to let fighters know where she's coming from and fans know, she should stick with this realm and say, hey, you know, Tyler Santos couldn't get a rematch with Val. Let's do it. Me and you do it. And whoever wins this fight, we get the title shot. Let's do it that way. All right. When I get healed up, I want Tyler Santos since she called me out. Right. Or better yet, like I said, I went to 5-round fight with Grasso. No, but you know what? There's an even better one. I would like the winner or the loser of Murphy Andrade. Those are 2 good fights. You know why? There's 2 good reasons. Okay, Andrade might be going down to 115, but fans will take that because that fight was originally scheduled for last year when Caitlin wasn't actually going to make the first fight, the first time it was announced, right? So she could have said, hey, all right, I'm back into full training March or April, and I want to come back in July or August. And before I fight for the belt, I like a 5-round fight with the young lady I was supposed to take on when Caitlin Chikagan wasn't originally going to make it. I want Jessica Andrade. I want the Jessica Andrade fight. You know, I don't know if she moved back down to 115, but that's a fight I would like. Or better yet, you know what? This girl right here been talking junk about me. Let me get Lauren Murphy in there. I'll take on Lauren Murphy next. You know why? Because Lauren Murphy was talking junk in this recent interview. I mean, maybe Manon didn't hear it, but somebody needs to relay it to her that when she was on James Lynch, Lauren Murphy said that she wasn't impressed with Manon Fiorot and that Valentina would eat her alive. She said that, hey, the fight between her and Chikagan, they didn't really do much. It wasn't an exciting fight. It was just 2 long girls striking at each other, and she basically just Chikagan, right? And she said with doing that, Valentina's going to eat her alive. I'm not impressed. That's basically what Lauren Murphy said, right? So with Lauren Murphy talking this junk, Manon could come back at that and say, hey, I want to fight Lauren Murphy. I want to fight somebody in this division that's fought the champion. You know, and Lauren Murphy been talking junk. She said, hey, I look bad against Manon. I look bad against Chikagian. Hell, you couldn't even beat Chikagian. Shoot, you froze up against Valentina. You know, so there's a lot of different ways to look at this. That's why I'm saying sometimes these fighters, they really need somebody around them that can bring them the right energy and find them the right fight sometimes. That's why I like to play matchmaker sometimes. You know, I ain't even going off, you know, making stuff up. I'm just going off of facts. You know, I'm just going off of the facts that's presented here. And what I see with Lauren Murphy talking junk, you know, that would make a great fight with Manon Fiorot more than a Rose Namajunas fight, right? So people need to get it together. They need to get this type of stuff, and, you know, this type of info back to these fighters so the right energy can be made and these fighters can put their hearts and their minds in the right places, you know. And that's where there's kind of a cutoff with WMMA sometimes. You know, sometimes these fighters doubt themselves or they kind of backtrack. You know, and they have to keep that energy if they want to build a legacy or at least build superstardom. You know, that's why a lot of these boxers back in the day, they still have loyal fans even when they retire. Again, you know, Lennox Lewis, Evander Holyfield, Muhammad Ali, these guys like this, you know, everybody still cherishes them and respects them because of the choices they made. Not saying you got to go in there and get yourself killed, but take on the best names, you know, take on the best names at all times, or at least surround yourself around the best competition. So yeah, man, I just think it is a little deeper than that sometimes, especially when you get to the top. Like if you really, really want something, you have to have that confidence. You know, it's one thing to have the skills, which I think Manon definitely has the skills, the size and the strength to do certain things with the Valentina fight or just to any fighter in the flyweight division. But when you don't show that same type of energy at the top, it kind of makes people doubt you a little bit and say, okay, maybe she don't want it as much. You know what I mean? Like, because for somebody like Manon Fiorot, who's 32, 33, you know, I was feeling like in the beginning her energy was different. You know, I thought it was crunch time for her. Hell, that's how I felt like when I was like my early 30s. There were certain things I needed to get done in a timely fashion because I was like, hey, I ain't getting any younger. You know, certain things I had to go and get, you know, now before I get too old, right? So I'm thinking Manon is coming with that same energy to say, hey, I'm ready. Let me get a couple more fights, and boom, I want the champion. And that's how you just got to do something. You just got to take the chance. You just got to take the chance. Like, there's not enough experience in this division that can prepare you for or match you in experience with Valentina. And that's not what it's about. It's about beating Valentina. Like, you're not going to catch up with experience with Valentina. If you tried that, you'd be in the division another decade. What it comes down to is you crafting the style that can beat Valentina or finding her weaknesses. And that's what Tyler Santos did to the best of her ability. She used her physical strength and her grappling. Was her striking as good as Valentina's? No. Was her timing as good? No. Is her distance management as good? No. Right? Did she have as much experience as Valentina? No. So what did she do? She used the heck out of what works for her and what would work against Valentina. And that's how she did it. So for Manon, it can't be all about, oh, I want a 5-round fight or I want a lot of experience. Whenever all you have to do is find a weakness in Valentina and kill it. Find a weakness and kill it, right? That's what you have to do. That's why I say when these girls come in pre-UFC, you know who's the reigning champion. You have to eat, sleep, and drink Valentina fights. You got to become you have to become her biggest fan. You have to become her biggest fan so you know the ins and outs. So like what she likes, what she does, what she likes to stick to, what agitates her. You gotta fall in love with all of that. So when it comes down to fight night, you know how to take it away from her. Okay? So that's another video. That is a totally different video. But right now, just hearing Manon call out Rose doesn't really sit well with me or a lot of other fans, apparently, you know, because they going in, you know what I mean? Like, to me, I'm not emotionally attached to it like that, but as somebody who loves the fight game and as a fan of Manon, I wanted to hear the names like Andrade, even Grasso or Murphy, still keeping that same energy because that is what you need to get under your belt if you really want to go for the champion. You know, you need big flyweights, big girls that are going to test your strength for 5 rounds. You know, girls that are going to put the pressure on you like Lauren Murphy will put the pressure on you, no doubt. She will, because she feels like you don't have what it takes to beat the champion. So she's going to disrespect you, and that's what you need to go in there and earn your respect. Somebody like Lauren Murphy. Andrade is always Andrade, so she's going to give you what you need to test your pressure, okay? Grasso might also give you that because she's got the IQ, right? She's got the skills. But Rose, not necessarily. Hell, we don't know. Rose might go in there and pull off an upset, so you better not ask for something that you ain't too sure of, because Rose has a lot of good tools. And I was watching that Namajunas Andrade round 1 the other night. Shoot, that was some beautiful work from Rose. It made me remember how much I love watching Rose's footwork and her fighting style, you know, because she's got tools. Rose was getting some takedowns in that fight in the first round, too, before she got slammed to her neck. That girl's got some skills, you know. So who knows? Rose could move up to 125 and carry the weight nicely. So don't ask for something that's not there right now. You know, you might regret asking for it. Just go ahead and deal with what you got right now. You know. So yeah, guys. Yeah, I just wanted to get on and do this little discussion mini cast here because, you know, some people asked me about it. But yeah, as a Manon fan, I don't like the call out of Rose. Like, again, it was just something little, maybe it was minor to her. But, you know, as somebody that wants to see her do well and possibly become champion in the division, I want to hear her stick with the Valentina call out, or, you know, a girl that's going to get her closer to that fight, like Tyler Santos. Like, if she just kept calling Tyler out or Lauren Murphy, yeah, those two names would have been better for her at this point, you know. But yeah, that's what it just comes down to. You got to look at it in two different ways here. Like, again, my final thoughts. Fighters, they're entertainers, and sometimes they wonder why people aren't tuning into them and why their brand isn't bigger. Well, it's part of what you say. It's part of what you say, and to win fans over, you got to say certain things. Like, whether a fight's happen or not, you got to keep calling out the big names, and that's what people will, you know, respect you for, and they'll tune in more to you for that, right? And then the UFC as a whole, they'll know what you want, and they'll know that you're ready, and they're confident to put you in there with the big names, right? And then third, lastly, of course, is the big part, is fighting those big names will always give you that resume, whether you win or lose. Like, Manon could take on Valentina Shevchenko in August off of no tune-up fight and lose, and she would get more respect and have more stock than taking on a Rose Namajunas and beating and knocking Rose out in August, right? That's just how I see it. Like, yeah, you could go in there, knock Rose out or maul her and beat the crap out of her in August, but your respect level really wouldn't go up as much as it would if you took Val off a long layoff and gave Val a good fight, right? So that's just how I see it. You know, sometimes an L is a win. But yeah, guys, we'll talk more about it a little bit later. Combo Breaker 99, make sure y'all subscribe. I'll be on later on tonight, 7:15-ish Eastern time. Make sure y'all subscribe. I'm out. Peace.